So one of the most common questions that we always get is, when is the best time to buy in real estate? I'm Boanka with the Compass team,
And it's Safraz with the Compass team.
and today we're going to be talking about how the weather and how the seasons affect real estate and what things look like historically all throughout it. So, Safraz, you've been a real estate agent for probably over 10 years now. What is the number one trend that you see when it comes to buying and selling homes in real estate?
Yeah, we always tell everybody it's seasonal, right? I would say year over year, without fail, and without very little differences, over my career of 10 years, the spring market is always time and time. Even if you're like, oh, it's a bad market, the spring market is always when you see the most activity and typically when you see price spikes, right? Like a little more, like if there was, 10 sales a week before, you might definitely see a double real quick. And this has been like over my 10-year career, even in the bad times, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah. So now we have a graph here, and you can see all of these peaks. All of these peaks throughout are for around May, around April and May. This is when the market is always the highest,
Yep.
seasonally speaking, year over year speaking, not just like when is the peak, when is the bottom, but this is something that we see every single year. And one of the main reasons that we're seeing something like this is because spring equals change. You know, when spring comes around, you want to do your spring cleaning.
Yep.
It's just a lot of change comes with spring. And this is when a lot of people like to list, and this is when a lot of people like to buy, and this is when the most things are changing and the most sales are happening in real estate.
Yeah, I think it's also, if you think about spring, right? Let's talk about it, April, May, June, around that time. A lot of it also has to do with planning in the future. Typically, sometimes closing is 90 days away. Let's say 3, sometimes 4 months. But you also have to think it's a lot of times, kids are going back to school in September. Whether that be university, middle school, elementary school, it doesn't matter. So a lot of parents especially are like, all right, we want to settle. We want to be in our place for June, July, get settled into the area of the new home so they can start school in September. We see that a lot where parents do that, and that's why we see a big uptick in not just the amount of listings, but also the amount of purchases happening at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, if you look at this graph, you can see it kind of goes up, down, and there's always waves in real estate. So when would you say is probably the lowest time or the bottom, maybe the best time to buy?
Yeah, I will say the absolute best is typically December and January. Like, without fail, December and January, you're like, okay, prior to that, even we're talking October, November, you'll see a good amount of listings coming up. People are understanding, hey, it might take a little time to sell, let's list it. But in December and January, there's not many options or even good options because people are like, you know what, I'll just wait till February, March. Why am I selling it now? Unless you need to sell, different story, of course. So December, January, absolute. You see the lowest amount of listings and also the lowest amount of buyers looking to buy.
Yeah. And one of the reasons being is because in December, there's so much to do in December. That's you got all your Christmas, you got all your family, you got your work events. There's always so many things to do. Plus, it's freezing cold outside.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Then you get into your holidays. And so it's just not a lot of people who are interested. And usually things slow down a lot in December. Yeah. Then when January comes, it's going to be one of the coldest times. People have just been spending. They're just like, oh man, let me just get back to my regular day-to-day life. I'm going back to work again. I got to catch up on work. I don't got time to be out there looking for places. So I do feel like, December is going to be slow. January is also going to be slow. And these are, when you look at that very lowest number, it's going to be December and it's going to be January.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it's like cold. Even looking at rentals around that time, not a lot of people are looking at rentals or purchasing, especially in Toronto, especially with the snow that we get, early Jan, mid Jan, and it's cold, -20.
This year we had some of the coldest.
This year, January, when we get the stats, I know it's going to be horrible. Like, it's going to be so bad. Why? you know, for the whole month, maybe we had 3-4 feet of snow and -20 weather, right? It wasn't as like a mild winter. So naturally, like, you just want to stay home, stay warm, and, you know, have some hot chocolate, not
Yeah,
go out and do real estate.
Yeah, when you're going up, when you're seeing places, you're getting out of the car, you're going into the place, you're going around the house, and like, yeah, you
It's a
don't
lot of
want to do
things,
this
right?
when it's like freezing cold outside. So yeah, we perfectly understand it. But on the flip side, another one of the kind of lower spots, it's not as low as December and January, is going to be in August, which
Yep.
is like the hottest month of the year.
Yep.
But same way in
Similar.
December and January, you don't want to go outside to be looking at places. In August, you want to be outside enjoying the beautiful weather. You don't want to be wasting that time looking at places where, you know, on the weekend, you spend a Sunday looking at places where you could have been at the park or hanging out with friends or having a barbecue, something like that. So that's another time. So what we see here is that the weather really does affect how people buy.
Exactly. Yeah, and like you said, you know, August, even ourselves, right? Like, we see a lot of clients, oh, I'm out of the cottage for 2 weeks, right? You're not really traveling outside of the city. Like, you're not flying out of the city. Why? Because the weather's so great. You might as well, you know, go to Niagara. You can go to Wasaga. You can go to cottage. There's so many activities to do in Toronto. And, you know, people are still working their regular 9 to 5. They're not really like, hey, you know what? I have 2 free days and let me go see real estate on the weekend. It's like, again, it's, you know, you just want to like have a break. All right, I've earned this half of a year. Let me go. And that's why we also tell sellers, like, August, again, unless you really need to, don't, you know, be listing. And when we have buyers, though, we do tell them great advice. It's sometimes you can find a good gem if you're proactive, right? Really depends.
Yeah. So then I would say, like, when we said December is slow, January is going to be slow as well.
Yep.
And then it starts building up from there. When it comes to August is going to be slow. But when September comes, I don't know what it is. September is kind of one of those, like, renew. It's like, let me get back to what we're doing. Let me do the things I wanted to do.
I have 4 months left in the
Yeah,
year. Look at
I
the
got
year.
to do what I
Yeah.
said I wanted to do. So I
Exactly.
think, you know, the kids are going back to school.
Yes.
You're getting back into your regular life. You just took all this time off and you're rejuvenated after August. But yeah, September and October, we do see the pickup, and then it starts to die out in late November and December and January.
Maybe it's, you know, so some parents having, you know, to spend 2 months in their house with their kids, taking them every day to this, that, and the other. And they're like, you know what? We need a bigger space. We really don't like September, because it's also, once they get back into school, now you get a little bit more activity. But again, like, if you compare that to the spring, it's like still a big difference. May, like, I would say April, May, June is still always our biggest months. And, you know, you said it a little bit. January, February is usually cold. And the only times in my 10-year career that I've seen, like, second week of January still cold and boom, was in 2017 when the market went crazy. It was like, you know, it was like I think week over week the market was going up 5%, 3%, like 100K over, 30 showings, 30 offers. It was crazy. But besides that, I would say February you see a little uptick, and then March, April, boom, we're back at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so with people understanding the seasons and how things go, when do you think is the best time to buy, and when do you think is the best time to sell throughout the year?
That's a great question. I'll start with the sell. Naturally, I think the best time to sell is always March or April, right? Some people say, hey, you know, if you look at this chart right here, it says May is when the peak is. Absolutely. I totally understand that. But at the same time, May is when you see, instead of, again, like I said, let's say there's 100 listings, you might see 300 listings. It's your competition has tripled in just that little time, right? And it also depends on, as when you're selling, how good your home, how unique your home, your condo is, right? If you have not the greatest home, right? Like maybe it needs a lot of work, maybe there's no parking in an area where everybody has parking. When you compete with people who have a parking spot or a fully upscale home, your competition is vastly different. But if you do have a very special, unique home, I still say, like, don't wait till May, right? Because these are also sold prices. So sometimes it's a 30-day lag, right? It's not like, yep, we sold, like the market is, it's based on a 30-day cycle. So I would still say April is typically the best time to sell. If not, you know, things are changing and you're like, hey, we can't do it. September, after the long weekend. I don't like doing that typically, but the second weekend after Labor Day weekend is when I list.
Okay, so now one other thing that we didn't talk about is how long do you think it's gonna take? Say someone says, you know what, I just watched this. Okay, if I'm thinking about selling in March or in April, when should they start becoming getting prepared for this?
At minimum, I would say is absolute minimum is 15 days. Best is 30 days. Why? Right? Again, we're not in a hot market where things are just selling because they're selling. Now we need to actually promote good homes and make the home better. So by allowing time for us, our stager, maybe our renovation team, our painter team to come up with a plan to maximize how much you can get on a sale, more is better, right? Like if you give us even 45 days, sometimes you're like, we might meet and you're like, okay, we need to pay, we need to do this. And you might be like, oh, I have kids at home. I don't want to do it right now, but I need 2 weeks. So you kind of lose a lot of time in, coordinating everything.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing to even add on to that is is when we take pictures. When we take pictures, we like to be nice outside. We don't want to do it on an overcast day. And in the winter time, it's a lot of overcast dark days.
Yeah.
And there was one listing that we had, and it literally took we were gonna do pictures on a Monday. And it was overcast, the weather was bad. It wasn't until the next Tuesday that we were a week, 8 days after the next Tuesday that we were able to, that was the first day that we had a nice sunny day where we were able to take pictures. So even just something as simple as that, you don't really think about these small things, but that's why it is better to have a longer amount of time when you're getting ready to list your place.
Exactly. If you think about it, like you said, pictures and videos, that's the first impression. They always talk about first impression as a person, but your real estate first impression is the pictures. If you have bad photos, it's not going to attract as many people. But when you have the perfect set of photos and videos, it's nice and sunny, you could see how bright the home is. It definitely helps get that maybe 10-20% of people eyes on it, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Right?
No, first impression is so important. There's studies have been done, and somebody usually decides if they're going to keep looking at this house or switch to the next house within 4 seconds of looking at that place. So you do want those first couple of pictures to really be good and really pop and keep their attention on it.
Absolutely. Even when I bought my home, I was looking at it for a little while and the pictures were really good. And if the pictures were sometimes you'll see really nice listings and I don't know why, but you'll just see a picture of the outside of the house and that's it. How do I know if it's renovated? How do I know what the bedrooms look like? Is there, there's so many factors that go into it. And like you said, that 4-second rule, it's absolutely of the most importance, especially as a seller. Why? You're trying to get as much money out of it from this home that you had, right? So make sure, in order for it to be perfect, good weather. And that's why we go back to, hey, if you have 45 days, even better, right? There might be something small wrong that you know of that we need to get fixed. Right? If it's a house and you're like, actually the furnace and the AC are dead. They're about to die in the next 2 months. Cool. It gives us time to figure all of these things out. It's not like me and Blanca come on our phone and we just take pictures and throw it on realtor.ca, MLS. That's not how we operate. And because of that, the longer the time we have to maximize, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to buy or selling, we're thinking, March, April. But when it comes to buying, I would say the best time is actually December and January, because there's less competition.
Yes.
The people who have their houses on the market, they want to sell and they don't have people knocking on their door every single day. So it's really, you just get to negotiate and you really get to find out, why does this person selling? Did they already buy another place and they really got to get rid of this place? And that's where you're able to really get good deals. So I would say, the best deals that you're going to be able to get are going to be in December, going to be in January, even February as well. Again, it is all seasonal, but what do you think about, buying in the best time to buy?
Yeah, I would have to repeat that. It's same thing. December, January, sometimes February, and then the second, best time would be late July to August. The only thing, the caveat behind those 2 times is if you're I don't want to call it picky, but if you have like a unique set of homes or condos that you want to look at, many of those may not be available.
Yeah.
Your
yeah.
options are very limited.
Yeah, this is
right?
someone who's looking to get a great deal.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily you're going to get the exact place that you want.
Exactly.
You're going to get a great deal on what's available. Yeah.
That's the thing. You always have to keep in mind that if it's just the amount of listings always. So we have the average price here, but if you look at the amount of active listings, December, a lot of people even terminate their listings, December 1st, also because they're like, hey, you know what? We still live here. We're still trying to sell, but we don't want people in and out of our homes for those 2 to 3 weeks. Same thing in August, right? Like, oh, we might not be here for a week and we don't want people to come in and out, whatever it may be. So just keep in mind that, yes, those are the best times. But I would say if you're looking, I would say more so for a house, this matters because they're all very unique. But if you're looking at a condo, it doesn't matter as much. But definitely your choice of the litter is going to be a lot less. But in terms of price, absolute best time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, if you do want to continue this conversation, leave a comment below. Or if you want to go even deeper, set up a time for us to talk a discovery call. Click the link right below in the comment section. And yeah, it's usually about 15-20 minute conversation. And we're able to dive a lot deeper into what we were speaking about today. But yeah, I'm Bawanka with the Compass team.
And it's Safraz with the Compass team.
And that's it for today, talking about the seasonalities of real estate.